and welcome to Smiling in the Dark, the podcast where we, your resident smilers, put the kids to bed, unlock the front door, turn off the lights, and smile our way through the horrors. One theme, one subgenre, and one sleepless night at a time. I am Ross.
I'm Adam.
And this opening season, we have been focusing on the films that have invented some of our favourite horror subgenres. Last episode, we tackled cosmic horror with John Carpenter's cult classic The Thing, which it's safe to say that we both really, really enjoyed watching again.
Yep.
Today, we are discussing a film, Adam, which could possibly come under the subgenre of romantic horror.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Like a rom horror? No, that's not going to catch on.
Yeah.
But we'll call it body horror. That's what we're going for today. A bit of body horror.
Yeah.
You know the type of film where girl meets guy meets multiple baboons, guy teleports baboon, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that is, of course, David Cronenberg's 1986 body horror, The Fly. Adam, what's your past experience with The Fly?
Well,
That's an odd question.
My past experience was watching it when I was quite young and thinking it was pretty visually horrific.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I will forever, I don't know why this scene's in my head, but it always has been, the arm wrestling scene with the bone breaking through the skin. That sticks in my head. What I couldn't remember an awful lot about is what it looks like at the end of the film, which is a bit of a mess. I didn't remember, I remembered the basic story, but there's quite a lot in here that I didn't really have any memory of. I think we're probably talking about 20 years since I'd watched it. So probably I remembered it as a little bit of a different film than the film I watched last week.
Right. Yeah, I similarly, I think I would have been younger than what you're saying there. When I watched it, I mentioned to you last episode that I'm fairly sure I was unwell when I was watching it, and it made me feel more unwell. I don't remember the whole Gina Davis stuff at all. I just remember the sort of isolated Jeff Goldblum stuff. Yeah. I remember a lot of fluid, and that's pretty much it. So it was good to reacquaint with Seth Brundle and his inventions and behaviour. You enjoy it? Enjoy watching it?
I enjoyed it. Yeah. In I think what I said to you was I enjoyed it in a different way from the way I'd enjoyed it in the past. I think in the past it had been a bit like oh, look at that watch, whereas this, it hit me in a far more sort of psychological way, I would say.
Yeah, it's almost a tragedy of a film, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Let's stop there and let's get into the meat of the matter. Okay, The Fly, released in 1986, stars Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis, and is based on the 1958 film of the same name, which itself was based on a short story which was published in Playboy.
Oh.
They were doing different things in Playboy back then, apparently.
Yeah. I have mixed feelings about not being able to get my hands on a Playboy when I was young.
Not 1958, but... The Fly tells the story of an eccentric scientist who, after one of his experiments goes wrong, slowly turns into a fly hybrid creature. Critics on reception have stated that the film could be interpreted as a metaphor for the AIDS pandemic, which probably was very topical round about the time that this was released, 86. It's also been considered to be a sort of metaphor for terminal illness or watching someone you love slowly succumbing to an illness or addiction. And I think all of those are probably, I think you can see in it what is relatable to you, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go into a scene-by-scene breakdown, Adam. Just you jump in and tell me your thoughts about the various scenes. So,
Mhm.
first thing that really jumped out at me, I love the credit sequence. I like the we got like a sort of multiplication of cells type effect going on with the credits, and a strong score by Howard Shore, very
Yep.
orchestral and dramatic. I want to say Howard Shore won Oscars for his score for the Lord of the Rings films. But I am
Okay.
pulling that off the top of my head, but I'm fairly sure that is true.
Okay.
We're immediately, straight from the jump, dropped into a conversation at a press event, I think, or some sort of
a convention,
like a science convention, possibly, between our main characters, Seth Brundle, played by Jeff Goldblum, and Veronica Quaife.
I found that surname a bit tricky, to be honest.
Yeah, it could be Quaife.
Yeah.
Ronnie Quaife, quite interesting. This is like a Family Guy character. She's affectionately known to Seth as Ronnie, so that's what we'll be referring to her as we go forward. I think immediately we're struck by what is now a bit of a Jeff Goldblum cliche, but at the time it's just good acting that he just comes across quite odd.
Mm-hmm. He does, yeah. And in their first interaction, you're looking, thinking, okay, slightly uncomfortable in social circumstances, science man is trying to chat up reporter woman, press woman, by using the classic, do you want to come back and see my lab type line. Yeah.
And he's not used it before, I don't think. I don't get that impression.
No. Yeah, I don't think he's ever spoken to a woman before.
He does say at some point, I don't get out often, or I don't see a lot of people, or something like that.
Yeah.
So, like you say, invites her back, and he wants to show her his laboratory because he is trying to convince her that he is working on something that is going to change the world. I get it from the point of view if she's a journalist chasing a story, but I would not be getting in a car with that guy, that's for sure. So we're jumping into her car. She takes him back to his apartment building. He immediately jumps in to piano, which is never referenced again in the whole film. In fact, I'm not sure you can ever see it again. He jumps on and he's playing like this sort of dramatic type music and stuff, and he's sort of playing up his awkwardness of like, I can't let you leave, I'd have to kill you now you've seen my work and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, he shows her his set of telepods, which she continually refers to as phone booths. He says that they are, what is the word? Not transporters. What does he say that they? Teleporters, and that's what he's working on. So he asks for something of hers that's personal to her. She gives him one of her stockings, which he takes off her, rubs a little, and says, "Nice." But true to his word, he manages to teleport it. She thinks this is all a bit of a ruse, and some sort of magic. But I think he manages to convince her because she gets the recorder out, doesn't she? Once he starts sort of blabbing on about how it is possible.
Yeah.
So she's like, well, I'm going to be writing a story on this. And he's like, well, I thought this was a social call. Come back to my apartment from my laboratory. He just doesn't want the information getting out yet, is the issue.
Yeah.
But she takes off. She's got a story to write.
Yeah, she's a career woman. She's busy.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now we go. This is. I wonder if there's a longer version of this film. I feel like it's only about 90 minutes. It is so. What would be a word, like sleek? Like,
yeah.
I feel like we only get the information that's like really, really important to the storyline. There's no fluff. There's no extra fat on it.
We do go, because we go really quickly from that convention, his lab, to him demonstrating what this machine can do.
Yeah.
And then even from there, when we go to the sort of next significant bit, it's just a matter of a few minutes, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, within the first 10 minutes, like you say, we've had her stop and go and teleport. She takes the story to her editor, whose name is Stathis.
Yeah.
What a name.
What a character.
Yeah.
Stathis.
Stathis immediately starts laughing. He's like, the old nightclub routine, 2 cabinets. And I'm like, what is Stathis getting up to his cabinets?
Oh, classic Stathis.
But you're right, though, he is an absolute character. I'm fairly sure the next time we see him, he's taking a shower in Ronnie's apartment. He has a key. He's not supposed to have a key. He felt, what does he say? He felt scummy. I just fancied a shower. Anyway, during this interaction, Stathis says he's got somewhere to be, and suddenly Seth arrives, which is all a bit sort of sitcomish now I think about it. Like there's just these scenes and all the characters are here.
Yeah, I did feel like I could hear like the Seinfeld music in my head.
Seth arrives at this office and he invites Ronnie out to lunch for a cheeseburger. He tries to convince her to keep the invention secret, and in exchange he's going to give her exclusive rights to the story. I think he tells her she can make a book out of this as opposed to it being like an article. So he invites her basically to come document everything and come live with him, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's at that point, I think, that's where he initially tells her that his telepods can only transport inanimate objects.
Yeah.
Which leads us nicely onto our first transportation experiment using something living. And we get, well, let's take the baboon behaviour second. But first of all, we have a baboon, a very well-behaved baboon, sitting in the telepod. And Seth tries to send it over to the second telepod. It's at that point we get our first sort of little jump scare. One of only very little jump scares in this film, but a sort of horrible jump scare and horrid sight of the baboon which has been turned inside out during the teleportation.
Yeah, just
and it's screeching and
and it's like just a mess of blood and guts that you're left with. Oh, pretty horrible.
It was quite thingish with with the dog transformation and all that.
Yeah, it was a bit. Yeah.
So, what have I got here? What are you laughing at, the baboon?
I was just looking at my notes, and the next thing I've got, which is about, we're obviously painting a bit of a picture about who this Seth is as a character. And while I was watching this moment, I was thinking, this would maybe actually be quite a good way to live. He wears the exact same clothes every day. Yeah. He has, I think it's 5 sets of the exact same clothes so that he doesn't have to spend any, basically brain power thinking about what he's going to wear.
What a great character wrinkle that is.
Oh, brilliant.
And this is the beginning of the tragedy of this. He's clearly 100% dedicated to his work.
Mm-hmm.
And if Gina Davis hadn't come into his life, he would have continued on with that work, just him and chilling with his baboons, working on revolutionising everything.
Yeah. And it's right from here she is starting doing some serious flirting, and they don't really ease into that at all. They don't really, take their time with any of that. It's straight down to business.
It is. And you have to question, now there's obviously a bit of time between the baboon being turned inside out and her telling him he's cute and getting on top of him, but
I hope so. Yeah,
you have to question Ronnie's
you probably wouldn't
state.
Yeah, you wouldn't if that's what gets somebody going. I don't know that's a healthy person to be with.
No. And in 1986 there's no internet to access your inside-out baboon porn. So it's quite a niche fetish.
Yeah, I guess maybe she didn't know until she saw it.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah. No kink shaming on this podcast. That's us. So yes, we've had our first intimate moment between Seth and Ronnie, and I think at this point he's kind of a bit like, what's happened here? I've sort of tripped into a gold mine. I've got this woman that's really interested in me, and I've got my he's had a bit of a eureka moment because she's suggested having a steak dinner, and he's suddenly become excited that he's worked out how to transport the live flesh. Well, live flesh? No, he's worked out how to do it with flesh.
Yes.
Because he does it with his steak.
Yes.
So he manages to reprogram his computer system. This is our second film with some quite impressive computer systems.
It's fantastic. I mean, where is that now? I could use something like this system. It seems to just be answering all the questions for him.
What would you be using this system for in the telepods?
No. I mean, if I could get one pod here in my house and say one pod at my work. Now, you know that my home is about, a 10-minute walk
Not
from
long.
work, but still, imagine what I could do with those extra 10 minutes.
Fair. That's fair. Okay, so nothing baboon related.
No, I wouldn't be messing with baboons.
No. No. Talking of which, Seth decides to try out Baboon 1's brother with the teleportation and successfully teleports him. And we can tell it's the same one because he's so well behaved when he comes out. He jumps up onto Seth and gives him a hug.
Is this I had some in my notes that I'm not sure if it was before or after this, but they're in a clothes store, and Stathis is there, and he's out of control with jealousy. But you ever get these moments in a film where something completely throws you off and you can't really pay attention to what's happening on the screen because of this thing you've seen, and you're thinking, well, why was that there? And I'm not saying this distracted me for the entire rest of the film, but there was a fairly high-end clothes store, and I think Ronnie is trying to sort out Seth with some new togs, Yep. And I'm thinking, why is there a snooker table in the middle of this high-end clothes store? And I struggled to move on from that.
That is brilliant. I liked how. So I think she discovers after this has happened with the baboon and they're drinking champagne. She discovers that Stathis has sent Seth a mock-up of him on like the front of like Time magazine or something like that, and she's like, "Oh, why I oughta, you son of a bitch!" So she she's like, "Oh, I need to go and sort out some other aspects of my life that needs scraping away or something like that." She says, which is horrible imagery. So she disappears to go and do that, but is it that point she goes to the clothes store? Maybe.
No, I think she went to the clothes store before this,
right? And
then because at this point he's we've got Seth then experiencing a bit of jealousy because she's told Seth about the former relationship she had with Stathis, and he's I think not used to having any kind of relationship, and it's bugging him quite a lot, and he's going to start doing some. He's going to start doing some drinking, and then he's going to decide, I'm just taking a leap here.
Fuck it. Well, yeah, I've got some issues with Baboon number 2 here because he had an opportunity to step in, but he didn't say anything, which is a bit of a shit pal, really.
But he saw what happened to his brother, though.
I think he was setting him up.
Maybe
he was. Revenge.
Sweet revenge.
Baboon's revenge. Amazing. But Seth has been tanking the champagne. He's quite drunk, and like you say, he's convinced that Ronnie's the way to rekindle a relationship with Stathis, who, I mean, when you look at the guy, you couldn't be surprised. He's got a very fine beard.
Oh, yes.
He's brilliant at being stealthy in high-end clothing shops.
Yeah, he was hiding under the snooker table. I think there's maybe an indication in my notes about how quickly this film's flying by, because I've got in my notes for this next line, already, question mark, question mark, question mark. Here we fucking go.
Yeah, 30 minutes in, and Seth teleports himself with the fly inside the transmitter pod. But he emerges, what to him assumes totally fine. And I think it's like a couple of days later when Ronnie comes back and he's like, I did it. And then he starts behaving like an Olympic gymnast, which is probably my favourite part of the film, where he's like swinging round and round on this big bar. That is amazing.
He's in no way, when that kind of thing starts, he's in no way really concerned. What he thinks has gone on here is the actual just process of teleporting himself has got rid of some bad stuff out of him. He's left with, all the positive stuff. He's stronger, he's faster. He's like, I think, rambling on 100 miles an hour. Basically, can't stop speaking. But he's not yet at this point seeing it as any kind of a negative. I think before he went in, there was a point where they showed him he got a cut on his back, like he'd lay on something and got a cut. And I think the first sign that something's a wee bit really untoward is the hairs that are coming out of that cut.
Big long guys.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's almost like he's had a full body colonic, is what he's saying. Yeah. It's taking him apart and putting back together. It's at this point that I started to think, is he talking almost in like a sort of buzzy staccato way? Or is it just my head thinking that? Is that the Goldblum pattern?
Possibly. I think I didn't note it at the time, but let's say yes.
Okay. He's definitely got a new sweet tooth as well.
Yeah.
He's piling in the sugar.
Yeah.
You can tell that Ronnie thinks there's definitely something wrong going on here. He, like you say, I think she cuts these big hairs off his back. As at this point, he's becoming slightly manic.
Yeah.
He insists that she goes. They keep saying "go through" as the teleportation, the wording for that. He wants her to go through. He's talking about all these amazing benefits, and when she refuses, let's just say, doesn't take it well. Instead of, I don't know, I think the old Seth would have probably decided to have a little drink, sit on his couch, ponder. But not this Seth. He disappears out, goes out to some place where there's guys doing a arm wrestling contest. There's a girl at the bar watching them. That's what he's referred. We're going to be the dynamic duo. And if you don't want to be, I'll find someone who will. But yeah, he gets talk at this girl at a bar, and she's watching the arm wrestling contest between two guys, and Goldblum offers, I think, $100 to get in next, and if he wins, he takes this poor woman back.
Yeah, she didn't seem to have that much say.
No.
Yeah.
It's the 80s.
Yeah.
That's what happens in films. For you've said that this was one that you remembered. He gets in the arm wrestling contest with this, I assume, really strong guy, and I was going to say he's getting the better of him. It's about 50-50, and then eventually the guy's wrist just completely snaps.
Dude. Yeah. brought it all flooding back to me.
Horrid sight.
It's the bone through the skin.
Yeah.
Breaking through the skin. Yeah.
He sort of smirks and smiles as if to say, "Yeah, I won. I told you."
It does. Yeah. Yeah. There's absolutely no remorse about what's happening.
No.
And I don't know if I was aware of this when I was younger, but you notice right from, I think it's before we even get to this, his face had started to like contort a bit.
He's got like pock marks on his face, sort of thing and stuff.
Yeah.
So Seth takes his winnings, which is a woman called Tawny, back to his apartment. She wants to hit a few bars first, which he seems less than impressed with, but he takes her back eventually. He tries to coerce her into teleporting again. He says, "It's your turn."
Yeah. He's a bit problematic once he's become just a tiny part fly.
That's where Ronnie shows up, and she says the classic line that you've heard: "Be afraid, be very afraid," about using this. But Seth throws her out. Is he? Is it before that or after that? He's clearly away with this Tawny as well. He's getting involved with her as well, because we could have more than one pregnancy, because I'm fairly sure old Seth's not bothered about contraception.
Yeah, I think they had been at it a few times, certainly before he tried to talk her into going into the
yeah, because he was insatiable for a while there.
Yeah, but I think she just, I don't know that we see her again after Veronica Ronnie shows up and she does her runner.
She just leaves, that's right.
Yeah.
We get an absolutely disgusting scene where his fingernails start peeling off.
Yeah, it's horrendous.
That's not, that, when I think of body horror, that's the sort of shit that I hate. It just gives me the boke.
Do you think it's partly with this kind of thing because you can like imagine it happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something about the teeth as well. Something's going on with his teeth, which is pretty horrific. The whole thing's disgusting.
His teeth have fallen out. He's keeping them in his medicine cabinet and referring it to like a museum of Seth Brundle.
Yeah.
I think on one of his fingers his fingernail comes off and he actually squeezes the tip of his finger and stuff comes shooting out and lands on the mirror.
He does, yeah. Which I think is maybe, again, one of the most disgusting things that I've seen.
Yeah. Am I dying? Is this what dying feels like? He starts to question things.
So I think Ronnie has said at this point that she'd had the hairs analysed by a lab and they're not human. They're likely insect hairs.
That's right. Yep. And he's sort of laughing her off, and away you go. But once the fingernails start coming off, he starts to think, maybe something.
Yeah, something not quite right here.
Wrong is going on. He reviews the computer and discovers it's a good reveal. The whole thing. If you'd never seen it, it's called The Fly, I suppose.
Yeah.
And we know what's happened, but the reveal of the computer eventually sort of panning out to show the fly was good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
It tells him that the two life forms fused together at a molecular genetic level.
Yeah.
Fast forward some period of time, we get a desperate phone call from Seth to Ronnie, in which he says he's gotten much, much worse.
Yeah.
He says, "I didn't want you to see me, but please come visit."
Which, at this point, we're not seeing him, are we?
Nah.
So we're in the same position as Ronnie, where it's like we saw and it wasn't great, but we don't know what it is we're about to see.
Nah. I do like that. It's quite shows a bit of restraint with how slowly he does morph. But once Ronnie walks in the apartment, we see that he has deteriorated. He's walking bent over like an old man. His skin is pretty much all right. He reminds me of Michael Jackson in the Thriller video at this point.
Yes.
He's walking with two walking sticks. And he explains to Ronnie, I think he's talking about having a disease at this point. He explains what's happened. And she's like, we can get you tested. We can start treatment. And he's like, no, I refuse. I won't be put under tests and all that sort of stuff. But as they're sitting, he's got a bunch of donuts sitting in front of me, and he just opens his mouth and vomits.
It's
fluid, like white, yellow, fluid.
It's horrible.
On his food, he's almost looking like a guilty child. It's like, uh-oh, what have I done? And then his ear falls off.
Yep, just comes off.
Which is class. And she has to cuddle him, and she must be feeling
I was absolutely horrified when she hugged him.
No.
Oh my God. I'm not, I think we've basically established that Veronica is far from a good guy in this whole story, but don't touch it.
No. Calling him it. Poor Brundlefly. Strangely, Ronnie goes back to Stathis for support, a man who has proven time and time again not to be trusted. He asks her to videotape it all because he's like, I need to see it. And I'm thinking, he's going to take those videotapes and profit off it himself again. Mm-hmm. But I suppose there's no other characters established for her to lead on, so
at least he's consistent. Stathis, we know what he's all about, which is exploiting everything.
Yeah. When she returns back to the apartment to record him, she sees he's like, "Hey," he's all chipper again. Look what I can do, and he's like crawling along the ceiling. It all felt a bit Spider-Man at that point.
Yeah. I had no memory of this happening. Zero.
Nah.
Yeah.
It's the change, not so much the change in abilities, which you could understand. It's the change in his attitude and
he's full of the banter again, and almost like joyously referring to himself as Brundlefly.
He says it would make a fabulous children's book. Brundlefly. And I think he shows her again a demonstration of how he eats. And he's sitting doing, like how a fly does the whole two little legs back and forward, almost like a scratching motion. Yeah. He's doing that a lot as well. Ah, dear. Just when you think things can't get more absurd, Ronnie discovers that she is pregnant with Brundlefly's child.
Oh.
She doesn't... It's not clear. She obviously doesn't know if this happened before or after he did the teleportation. In a dream sequence, she is taken into labour with Stathis by her side, and she gives birth to a fucking disgusting giant maggot. Please. Thank God that was a dream.
When I was watching it, I didn't know for sure this was a dream sequence. It wasn't until it came out as a massive maggot, and I was like, right, okay, come on now. That's
shaking
it.
In that. I thought she was going in to get an abortion, and I thought that's why Stathis was with her. I was slightly confused, but disgusting. Oh man, she visits him to break the news to him that she's pregnant. And he starts going on a bit of a rant about insect politics. And I think the point here is to say that there's no politics in the insect world, and that it's kill or be killed. Did you get that? Yeah?
That's what makes sense from out of all of that. Yeah.
Okay. He warns her that he's losing his compassion, and he thinks that if she stays there, he will hurt her. So she... This film is basically her arriving and leaving at his apartment, but she takes off. Stathis meets her at the bottom of the stairs outside the apartment, and she asks him, get a doctor on the phone, because Stathis has got guys in every profession. He's like Ric Flair, that he's got everybody on speed dial.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So he he's like, well, it's late at night. I don't know. She's like, get somebody. I need this out of me. So we go to the doctor, and the doctor is played by Cronenberg.
Was it?
Aye.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
So they want this doctor to perform the abortion, but Seth was chilling on the roof, and he overheard their conversation. Oh, this is a great scene. So she's sat on the end of the bed waiting to be seen by the doctor, and Seth comes flying, no pun intended, through a giant glass wall.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
It was almost a little bit like out of place. You didn't expect that to happen. And I think he's given enough explanation throughout. He's talking about how he's losing all of his sense of compassion and things like that. He's I think the insect part of him is now taking over as compared to the human part that's left. Yeah. So it's not out of the world of what the film has been explaining to you, but I just didn't expect it at all.
No. And we've never known that he could leave his apartment, basically, like this. Yeah. But he's obviously desperate. So he sort of kidnaps her, kind of, and takes her to another part of a roof of a building, and he's begging her that this is the only human part of me that's left. Please don't kill it. Oh. So we cut to his apartment. Stathis. He breaks into Seth's apartment with a shotgun in a briefcase. Like, Stathis strikes me as the kind of guy that'd be prepared for any and every eventuality, but he comes anyway. Yeah. He has a shotgun with him. He puts it all together. We can see the sort of shadow of someone above him, which I quite liked. That was good. Sorry, I've lost my place. Yeah. Does Stathis see the computer? And yes. I think it says that there's 3 telepods now.
Yes.
And it's like a gene splicing thing that it's saying that it's going to try and do now, right?
Yeah.
But Seth ambushes him from the ceiling, presumably, and he vomits his bile onto Stathis's wrist, first of all. It was holding a shotgun, and it just melts away.
It's horrendous.
No, I mean, that was enough for me.
Yeah.
That done enough that Stathis wasn't going to shoot his shotgun, but instead he sort of climbs over him and vomits all over his ankle, and his ankle just completely just disappears, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Terrible. Seth tells Ronnie he's going to use these telepods to fuse him, her, and their unborn child into one entity. Just what a woman wants to hear after her romantic partner's turned into a fly.
I think this was the point where I was like, I can't really be on your side anymore here, Seth. I think you've crossed a line now.
He says we'll be the ultimate family, which I'm not sure is correct there, Seth. I think we might be losing it. He's grabbing her to pull her into the pod, and she just rips his jaw off.
Yeah, easy as that.
Which could have been a great idea, but unfortunately, this triggers the ultimate metamorphosis, where Brundlefly is just fly now, pretty much.
Yeah.
He's this giant insectoid human creature thing, and all his muscles, his leg muscles, his arm muscles are falling off him. He sheds the sort of human face and everything, and he's full-on giant fly.
At this point, I had absolutely no memory or idea of how the film ended. And I was thinking, is he going to successfully get them all in the pods and combined into one being? Because I just couldn't remember.
I just can't understand how that works if the child can only be, she can only be a certain number of weeks.
Yeah.
Anyway, he traps Ronnie inside the first telepod, and he goes and enters the other one. I'm sure he must be quite excited at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But Stathis, who has went from absolute, just the sleaziest of sleazy men to becoming a bit of a hero here, he shoots his shotgun at the cables connected to the pod that Brundle flies in. And the damage causes the telepod to malfunction. Brundlefly is trying to smash his way out, but the fusing has already begun. So the fusing finishes, and it looks like Brundlefly is almost fused with like part of the door and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's not good.
So he falls out of it and crawls over towards Stathis and a now freed Ronnie. And really sad, he looks up at Ronnie, who is holding a shotgun, and you think, I think she's like, I can't do it. Is she?
Yeah. Yeah, she says she can't do it, and then he pushes it up towards his head.
To his forehead, as if to say, like, please put me out of my misery.
Yeah.
And screaming and crying, she blows his head out. Like, she is like, nah, I can't. Fuck it. Yeah. And that is end credits.
Yeah. Oh, it was a lot. It was a lot crammed into a short period of time.
It really was, aye. It's amazing to find a film like that that's like such a sort of classic horror film. Like, if they made that now, I think it would be like 2.5 hours long or something.
Yeah, it would, yeah. They'd feel the need, even though you got it, they'd feel the need to give you a half an hour backstory on Seth.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you were right there with him from early on. You knew who he was.
Yeah. Yeah, you like, it's not lacking anything. If anything, it's lacking more characters. Essentially three characters in a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe a friend for Ronnie to like talk to about what's going on here.
Perhaps,
and not
possibly.
have to go back to her scummy ex/editor.
There must be someone else in her life. I mean, come on, Ronnie.
Maybe more baboons as well. We could just. I'd like to see maybe like an 8-episode backstory on Seth of how he befriends these. Where's he get baboons from?
Yeah. That's definitely never explained. He's just got these baboons.
Have you seen The Fly 2?
No.
Would you like me to tell you a little bit about it?
Yes.
Okay, so a sequel was released in 1989. The only person that returned for it was Stathis. Veronica Quaife is in it, but played by someone else. It follows on pretty much directly from The Fly. She gives birth to his son before dying. And the main plot seems to focus on a company trying to get the son to do what his dad basically did, but successfully. But he appears. The trailer on YouTube basically shows you the whole film in 2 minutes. And it's at the end of the trailer, it's got like him standing as a fully fledged fly, and it says, like father, like son.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yep.
Cronenberg wasn't involved with it, which you wouldn't be surprised to hear. And Gina Davis declined to reprise again. There've been a number. There's something like 4 or 5 different attempts across the years to do sequels and remakes.
Okay.
And they even went through a period in 2009 where David Cronenberg was going to remake it himself.
Really? Oh.
And Jeff Goldblum said that's the only way he would ever be involved again was if David Cronenberg was involved, but they've never ever got there.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I said to you on text, do you know about Cat Monkey?
Yes, and I did not know about Cat Monkey.
So apparently in the, they do the test screenings. In the test screenings, there is a scene where Seth uses the telepods. He puts a baboon and a cat in the same pod and sends them over. And then when it comes out, it's obviously a fusion of cat and baboon. And apparently he lets it come out and beats it to death with a metal pipe.
Oh.
Apparently in the test screenings, this just played terribly, as you would expect.
Yeah.
So it was cut.
I wonder if they gave any consideration to a different way of killing it, because I'm like, it's interesting to me what it would have looked like, but I don't need to see him beaten to death with a pipe. If it could have been just shot or something like that, then fine.
That's probably where he loses his humanity, you would think.
Yeah.
What is your favourite scene from the whole film?
Favourite scene? Okay. Probably, so I wasn't that keen on some of the really gross looking stuff. I think I did really like the scene where it shows on the computer as it's showing the visual of what the other element is that has been brought in. I think some of the scenes that I enjoyed as well are where he was just kind of losing it. So where he is, there's a scene where they're sitting like in a coffee shop or something, and he is just spooning sugar after sugar after sugar, teaspoon into his coffee, and he is talking a million miles an hour, and it's just these fairly, they're telling you something's not right here, but they're not throwing it in your face exactly what's going on. I think those were the kind of scenes I enjoyed.
Nice.
What about you?
I like that coffee scene as well, because that's where I thought he's talking in this sort of buzzy staccato. My favourite scene, strangely enough, is the insect politics stuff.
Okay.
Because I feel it gives you a little bit of an insight into, there's more than just him that's transforming here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's also a fly that is transforming basically to human.
Yeah.
As well, and you don't get that perspective. He says, I was an insect who dreamed he was a man and loved it, but now the dream is over and the insect is awake. I really like that line of dialogue. It's brilliant.
That's good stuff.
I think I would have liked a little bit more of that. You're never going to get the perspective of the fly, obviously.
Yeah.
Becoming human, but I like almost as if he had like a split personality or something like that. Maybe just, I like that. That was good.
Yeah, nice.
So when we're talking about certainly these films we've been watching, we're talking about them being like sort of birth of a genre sort of thing. And I think Cronenberg's known for his body horror stuff. He probably has done body horror before The Fly, but this is the one I think for us that felt like the one to watch. So what things jumped out at you that could have been influenced by The Fly when you were watching?
So one was a film called Splice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is Natasha? I've got down here Natasha Henstridge. Is that who's in that?
Yes. Huh? Yeah. There's a film, a brilliant film out there called Tusk.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah, Tusk. Definitely inspired by this.
I never even thought of that. That's brilliant.
Nice. Poor Justin Long. And sort of with a more modern hat on, I was thinking The Substance. There's a lot from In The Substance that you can see in this. Like you say, so many films with just body horror that has something visual disturbing going on in there. I think we'll have taken something from a film like this.
Yeah. When he's at some point where he starts shedding the clothes and he's going about pretty much naked and he's got sort of big growths on his back.
Yeah.
Immediately thought, like, that just looks like the part of The Substance where she starts abusing the substance, and she
Yes.
starts looking grotesque.
Yeah.
What else? Is that all of them that you had? Yeah.
They're the ones I noted. Yep.
Have you seen the film District 9?
I have.
So, he's going, you fucking prawns, but he himself starts turning into one. And it looks pretty similar to what The Fly looks like.
I really like District 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice.
We mentioned Slither last podcast, where we were talking about the body horror, not even body horror, just disgusting things like the maggot made me think of Slither.
Yeah.
Splice as well. Teeth.
Oh, Teeth.
There is a horror film called Teeth where a poor main character ends up with teeth, sharp teeth, downstairs, vaginal dentata, something like that.
Yep.
So it's a sort of transformation, like and living with that sort of transformation type thing as well. That's what I had as well.
Did you look up the critical reaction to it?
I did. Okay, so you're going to be. I think you're going to be happy with this. So, it was made for around 15 million, and it made apparently around about 60 million at the box office. So financially, big success. Critically, a big success as well, with basically overwhelming positive responses from critics. Nice. It currently sits at 93% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
Nice.
The BFI in 2022 consider it one of the top 10 body horror films of all time. Time magazine considers it one of the top 25 horror films of all time, which is interesting because that's something to bring up. It's not particularly horror-y.
There's like some sort of gross out visuals on the go. And there's, I don't know, is it more like psychological trauma going on there?
Yeah, like science fiction and real psychological stuff going on.
Yeah.
Now, Adam, Roger Ebert, who shocked us to our very core as a podcast with his thoughts on The Thing.
He did.
Now, he's looking to regain some of his credibility with us. Luckily, he manages to salvage his reputation. He talked firstly, he thinks Goldblum should have won the Academy Award for this. But he says that the sort of the attitude towards horror would have prevented that. He describes the movie as difficult not to appreciate, which is sort of like a backhanded compliment. He praises both Goldblum and Davis as a couple that you're invested in. He enjoys Goldblum's oddness and praises the effects as timeless. He says, The Fly is an amazingly effective movie, one that really gets under your skin. The kind that you can't help but admire, but feel no rush to come back to any time soon. And when you do, it's probably a good idea to skip food in advance.
There were a few things that I noted as I was looking into this film. David Cronenberg was not the first choice to direct, which, like, I can't imagine anyone else directing it. There was nothing listed about who it was, but the studios weren't that keen. Michael Keaton was approached to play Seth, but turned it down.
I could see Michael Keaton playing that role.
Jeff Goldblum at the time hadn't really led a major film and was considered a big risk from the studio point of view. I think it panned out okay. And Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis were a real life couple during the making of this, which maybe helped with some of the chemistry that was on the go.
Wow, that's cool. What a weird thing to go through as a couple.
Yeah.
Now, before we talk about our Smiles rating, we sometimes like to do a little bit of fantasy writing, fantasy booking, those we like to call it. And I came up with a little thing that I wanted to run past you, see what you thought. Okay, so we talked about a sequel. Here's my idea for a sequel if they want to go for it now, okay? So Ronnie is obviously writing a book throughout this.
Yep.
So she publishes her findings as a book. It would become a bestseller. We would have the government bringing her in, as they're intrigued by the chapter on the initial positive effects that Seth showed. Who wouldn't want to swing round and round in their apartment? So they want to look at all his workings. They want to look at the technology, see if any of it's still working. They want to look at the sort of plans, the blueprints, all that sort of stuff, because they want to remove the potential negatives, accentuate the positives. They want to try gene splicing to create super soldiers.
Oh.
What do you think? Stupid?
No, I think you're onto something as an idea here.
Cool.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay, make that film.
Yeah.
Okay, so on this podcast we like to rate our films using smiles. We have a rating based on 0 being the Blair Witch 2, the worst film that's ever been made, and 6 Smiles being the greatest horror ever. Yep. Do you think that we've only given Psycho 6 Smiles so far?
What did we give Halloween?
Maybe either 5 or 6.
Okay.
What are you giving The Fly?
I am going to give The Fly 4. I was toying between 4 and 4.5. I'm going with 4. What about you?
I'm just actually thinking we both might have actually given The Thing 6 Smiles.
Did we? Oh, I did very much enjoy The Thing.
Me too. I'm somewhere in the 3, 4, 5 area. I think I'm in 3 seems low. I didn't actually write down what I gave it. I wrote down that what our sliding scale was. I'm going to give it 4 as well.
That seems fair.
I was a lot more. I think I wanted more from it.
Okay.
I think there's a lot more. You know, we talked about like it being a sort of tragedy, which is definitely what it feels like when you think about the fact that this guy was just working away, doing something amazing, and this is what has happened. He's not really had what appears. He's not really had a woman in his life. A woman comes into his life, and this happens. I would like more of that, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's fair.
So 4. 4 seems good.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
So, do you, as a subgenre, do you like body horror?
Not so much now. I wonder if I did more when I was younger. I maybe did.
Sort of fun, just like splatty.
Yeah. Whereas now, I don't know. It just makes me feel a bit uneasy.
Aye. It's not my
not
favourite.
in a good way.
Aye. There's Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's not my favourite either. I think, like with the Evil Dead, it was almost like so over the top that it was funny. But with this, it was just disgusting. And I think with body horror generally, it can just be quite disgusting.
Yeah, I agree.
Next time, we will be moving on to a different subgenre. We'll be moving on to meta horror.
Meta.
And we will be watching Wes Craven's Scream.
Fantastic.
Which is a well-watched film for both of us.
Yeah, I have seen it a lot. Thankfully, not too recently. I think there was about 5 years ago, maybe, that I decided to watch 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
And like watched them, I think, on back-to-back nights.
Nice.
Which I enjoyed, but I don't think I've been back to it since then.
Okay. I think I watched Scream last year, maybe.
Okay.
Because my oldest was getting into his horror films, and that was one that he wanted to watch, and one that we felt was an okay one to watch. So yeah, I honestly don't think I've seen past 4.
Okay.
Have
4.
Have you seen them all?
Yeah. So 4, I think, was a bit tricky. Like, I don't think it was the easiest one to get through. I think it maybe pushes the meta a bit too far.
Right.
4, and then they kind of do almost like a reboot with 5. It's like a new cast, but with some of the previous casts involved. And then through 5 and 6, you're going through with quite a few same cast people. But I think there's a new one coming out. I think there's a new one maybe just out. Yeah. I don't think those are ones I would ever go back to. I do wonder, like, at some point I'll go back to, well, obviously in the next 2 weeks I'll be going back to the first one, but at some point I'll go back to the first 3, I think, because they felt like they were very much, certainly the first one is very much of a time when I was very into that kind of film.
Yeah.
And that did it the best. That kind of film. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I was thinking about Scream 3, and it's 3 that they do the stab stuff, and Jane Silent Bob are in it.
Yes, it is. Yeah. I
was thinking, imagine the films that we've watched so far. You just put Jane Silent Bob into them at some point. But I don't think that would work with Nosferatu.
Yeah, tricky one with Nosferatu. You could see them like standing on a boat in Jaws, just like a rowing boat, the two of them. Like,
100%.
We're going to catch that motherfucking fish.
Amazing. Yeah. What else? Although they wouldn't be fitting in the thing, I think McCready would have shot them pretty quickly. Yeah, Jaws would be absolutely. You can see them even just standing at the side of the side of the water. That's class. And before we finish up, is there anything you've been watching recently?
Okay,
last 2 weeks.
I did watch a few films because I had some time off work.
That's right.
So I rewatched. I'd seen this a few times, but Disturbia, which I just find a good, fun horror film.
Is that Shia LaBeouf, like quite young, like Rear Window type thing?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Have you seen a film called Cherry Falls?
Nah.
So it's one that I was looking through my DVDs. I couldn't remember the name of it, but I remembered somebody that was in it, and I looked it up, and I was like, it's not available on any streaming. But I think I bought that at some point. I found it. I thought, I'll give that a watch. It's a bit different. It kind of, you know how in most horror films the virgin survives. It kind of turns round that narrative, which when you're going after a bunch of teenagers, kind of sets the story in a particular way.
Right.
I watched, it's not horror, but for some reason I watched Caddyshack.
Amazing.
For the first time in a long time. There was a newish film I watched called Send Help.
Oh, I with Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, it's a bit wild. And I watched The Faculty, which since we watched The Thing, I had been wanting to watch.
Brilliant.
It's a great film.
Does it hold up?
It does, yeah. Having just watched The Thing, they probably took more from The Thing than I'd ever realised as I was watching through it. But yeah, it's still well worth a watch.
It's an underrated haircut that Josh Hartnett's got in that, I seem to remember. Like a bowl cut, but like spiked up at the back, sort of thing.
Spiked up at the, yeah. What about you?
That's a great film. I've not watched much. We've been doing a lot of stuff in the house as far as DIY and stuff's concerned, so I've not watched much. More Peaky Blinders, still making our way through that.
Okay.
No. Oh, I watched. I can't remember if you watched The Bear.
I've never watched The Bear. I hear from everyone that it's very good, but I've never watched it.
They just released. It's finished season 4. I assume season 5's hopefully on its way. So they released like a 1 hour sort of prequel type thing.
Okay.
One of the characters, well, two of the characters, one of them played by John Bernthal. I'm not going to try and say the name of the other actor. It's the guy that plays the Thing in the new Fantastic Four. Even just this one-off 1 hour episode, absolutely brilliant. Such a good show.
Nice.
Watched that, and I tried starting at Atlanta.
Oh yeah, I watched that.
Have you?
Yeah.
Is it worth continuing with?
Yeah, I think so. Is it 3 seasons maybe?
Right.
I think towards the end of season 1 and into season 2 gets very good.
It's straight. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll continue on with that then. I was enjoying what I saw of it. It looks funny.
Yeah.
But no horrors or anything like that. I do quite fancy that Send Help. That does look good.
Mm-hmm. It's just like I had, and maybe this was a good way to go in. I didn't know anything about it, and I just saw it listed, and I thought I'll just put it on. And yeah, it took me by surprise a wee bit.
Nice. Okay, excellent. We are motoring through this season. We'll need to get our thinking caps on and think about where we're going next. But
yeah,
we've still got a few to go yet.
Yeah.
So Scream in 2 weeks' time, and we'll take it from there.
Very good. Yeah.
Now, just watch out for any friendly baboons going about the place. Don't want you to get yourself in any sort of trouble.
Yeah, I'll avoid. Okay. It's for the best.
It is. It is. Right. Yeah. See you in 2 weeks, Adam.
Cheers.